steak, chips, and dolly mixtures. That's my current farming business on the Ards Peninsula in County Down. In Northern Ireland, virtually all farms are owner-occupied and typically run by multi-generational family partnerships, people like you and I. I was fortunate to have been included in the management decisions since my return from college, becoming managing partner around 15 years ago. I have a younger sister and brother, but I don't remember any round-table discussions about who was going to return to the farm. My sister works in marketing while my brother's a chartered accountant. I guess they assumed that as the eldest, I would be the farmer, though I never felt any pressure from my parents either way. I now realise how fortunate I have been to have been given the opportunity to determine the strategic direction of our family business at an early age. I'm all too aware of numerous cases where succession planning has been poorly implemented, sometimes leading to the loss of the farm. Having spent many years to improve the policy for new farming entrants, it dawned on me that the real problems usually lie within the family, and without addressing issues at this level, policy will have little effect. I applied for my Nuffield Scholarship to try to find ways to improve the capacity to manage change in family farms, farms like mine and those around me. I travelled to Australia, to New Zealand, and also to China. As well as considering the situation in the UK, Ireland, and Finland, I met inspirational families and businesses, professionals, and practical farmers. Now, having completed my study, I want to share some of my key findings with you. Firstly, that good communication within UK farming families is crucial to avoid misunderstandings and ensure business stability. Next, the importance of succession planning facilitators who can assist families through the process. Finally, the need for adequate management training or experience for younger farm managers, supported by the most appropriate business structures. An earthquake measuring 5.5 on the Richter scale, quickly followed by another at 6.3, on the first day of my study, visiting Lincoln University, just south of Christchurch, made me realise at the start of my travels just how different my experiences were going to be. I felt my subject fell into two broad areas: the actual process of succession planning itself, along with the implementation, and secondly, how the younger generation acquire sufficient management ability to plan strategically for the future development of their family enterprise. By adopting some of my recommendations, together we may be able to contribute to the restructuring of family farm businesses in the UK. Both Australia and New Zealand have a much greater focus on business without the level of public subsidy we experience here. Of course, as well being forthright and expressing their opinions. There is a culture of openness around succession planning, also known as bloodline inheritance, with less emotional attachment to a particular piece of land. Emphasis is on what makes good business sense and a realisation that nothing lasts forever. I was, however, surprised to observe similarities to our situation in this country, with many family farm businesses struggling to work through a succession process. I met some people who had done this effectively, and others less so. I was humbled by how candid some of them were to an inquisitive Northern Irish farmer, talking openly about their business and private family situation. Some had actively encouraged their children to discuss their wishes for the future from a young age. There is no taboo around the subject of succession, and all family members have a clear idea what the others are thinking. There is no ambiguity with people getting the wrong message, something I believe our industry would do well to adopt. One Australian couple have introduced a board-type structure, holding regular business meetings along with their 3 sons, aged 16 to 22. It's anticipated their 9-year-old daughter will also become involved through time. The parents' aim is for children to understand the financial management of their dairy business, currently milking 900 cows across 3 farms, rather than just seeing the bank of mum and dad. They hope that some of the offspring might wish to get involved in the business, perhaps bringing a proposal to the board to take over one of the units. It became clear to me where succession had been well handled in a family this was likely to be repeated. But likewise, if poorly managed, this was also likely to recur. The challenge is to break this negative cycle. The grey generation may be reluctant to let go, particularly if they didn't get their opportunity until later in life, while the young can become increasingly frustrated through poor communication, unable to get their hands on the chequebook, never mind assets such as land. The result can be increasing friction between the generations, which, if not tackled, can lead to a complete breakdown in relationships. Even if the parents wish to take a back seat, they may not know how to address the situation, particularly if the subject has never really been discussed. I was fortunate to meet a number of professional succession planning facilitators who operated as independent consultants, as well as being employed by larger organisations such as banks. Typically, these people had a legal or financial background, but also usually had mediation and counselling skills. Mostly, they were engaged by the parents in a farming family to assist with development of a succession plan and its implementation. Each of the facilitators I met followed a similar process by meeting all of the family members at the outset, both collectively and individually. It is seen as essential to involve non-farming children or siblings, as well as partners or husbands and wives of the younger generation. This helps to diffuse potential problems at an early stage by identifying niggles or petty jealousy between family members. Parents usually hope to treat all children fairly, but this doesn't mean they should be treated equally. For example, $100,000 in cash cannot be considered equal to the same amount in farm assets. Provision for children not actively farming needs to be addressed in a practical way, although I observed little use of financial instruments such as life assurance. The facilitator will also seek to identify realistic goals for the process, such as providing an adequate income for parents in retirement, and who, if anyone, wants to get involved in the business. The plan should be time-bound, so rather than saying, I want to retire in 10 years, the goal should be to say, I want to retire by the time I'm 60. The ability to develop a viable succession plan can depend on the type of farm. New Zealand beef and sheep businesses have experienced low returns over many years, and in some cases, the most appropriate outcome may be to sell the farm to allow the parents to retire with some dignity, while the children seek employment elsewhere. The dairy sector has seen rapid expansion in recent years, with many family businesses now operating multiple units. This provides greater opportunity for the parents to retire by selling one farm, while some of the children may take over other sites. One facilitator pointed out that often some of the younger generation may have worked in the business for a payment well below the minimum age. When it comes time to split the assets, this shortfall needs to be addressed with a cash payment or greater asset allocation. The aim is to move forward by consensus, though often some compromise is required. It appeared the most successful plans are primarily focused on maintaining good family relationships, while securing the future of the business comes second. This seems very different to what I saw in the United Kingdom, where tax avoidance seems to be the main driver for generational transfer. I also came across mechanisms to protect assets from divorce, for example, by using a mortgage repayable to parents in such circumstances. My conclusion is that every person, every family, and every farm business is different. The hopes and aspirations of each of us are varied, so any succession plan needs to be tailor-made for a particular family. I believe succession facilitators have much to offer in this country. Moving to the second part of my study, I realised there is little point in successfully implementing a succession strategy if the new manager isn't up to the task. Over many years, parents have gained experience and skills to effectively run a large and often complex business. Typically, the next generation has concentrated on the production side of things and may not have had sufficient exposure to strategic and financial planning. They can quickly find themselves out of their depth with the family enterprise at risk. Acquiring management ability varies with individual circumstance, perhaps gained through formal training, such as a commerce degree, which is the course of choice for many in New Zealand. Of course, education isn't everything, but it helps. However, in the UK, it appears that many educational establishments are more fixated on meeting their targets for academic achievement, rather than providing the practical management skills required for the job. In New Zealand, Dairy NZ and others offer short practical management training programs, mainly aimed at young farm managers who have already left formal education. One of the most demanded courses currently is for human resource management, given the expansion of many family dairy businesses and the need to employ large numbers of staff. Successors can also gain management experience through employment in other sectors, such as banking or sales, before returning home. Through ongoing involvement with agricultural representative organisations or commercial businesses also outside the farm. Appropriate business structures can provide support for younger managers, also ensuring that the resource of parental experience isn't lost. By creating a board structure, parents can contribute to the decision-making process if required, while the successor can bounce ideas off the board. This system can maintain stability while managing change. An appropriate independent chairman from outside the family and involving farm staff may bring further benefits. However, we should all understand that smaller farm businesses can also benefit from corporate-type structures. Of course, it's also possible to buy in management experience by using consultants, which is common in Great Britain, but less so in Northern Ireland, given our smaller farm size. Australian farmer John Bennett from Victoria advocates changing his consultant every 3 years or so, feeling advisors become too comfortable and tell him what he wants to hear, rather than continuing to challenge the business. Again, some food for thought. To recap, I believe communication, facilitation, and management ability are key to improving the capacity to manage change in our family farms. I hope I've been able to give you a flavour of what I experienced during my Nuffield travels, but recommend you read my full report for the juicy details. Looking forward, I hope to use what I've learned to build on my current mentoring experience to assist farm families in Northern Ireland through their succession process. I would like to express sincere thanks to my sponsors, the Thomas Henry Foundation, and of course, the Nuffield Trust, who saw something in me. To my fellow scholars, I've enjoyed our Nuffield experience with the friendship and support you've provided. Thanks must go to my parents for their encouragement over many years. But my greatest appreciation is to my wife Gillian for her support during what was a difficult time for she and her family, and not least our children, Alexander and Karis. Thank you.